In February 2025, the FBI revealed that a group of North Korean hackers stole $1.5 billion worth of cryptocurrency. This is the biggest scam ever pulled to this day, and an ordinary group of people came from living their day-to-day lives to becoming the top 1% in the wealth spectrum overnight. Here's the story of the biggest cyber heist in the world. This was started when a big crypto exchange called Bybit was targeted by a small group of North Korean hackers that will ghost to the normal eye. If you don't know what Bybit is, or you don't know what a crypto exchange is, then let me break this down for you very simply. I'm sure that you heard of large companies like Coinbase and Binance. These are places that you go to exchange your bank money or cash and get cryptocurrencies like Ethereum or Bitcoin, or literally any other coin that's available on the market. Bybit was a rivaling competitor to these big companies, with the second largest trading volume in the world. And the reason why this company may not be familiar with you is because they don't actually have any services in the United States. To understand how sophisticated this story really is, we're going to need to break down exactly how Bybit stores their crypto for the public to buy from. Instead of keeping their supply directly connected to Bybit itself, they actually keep the money in cold wallets. Only 5 to 10% is actually connected directly to the site, and they constantly top up from the cold wallet just to maximize safety measures. For each transfer to take place, there must be multiple signatures for the transaction to go through. Key individuals would have to approve first, making it very hard for any cyber criminal to intervene. So how did this heist even happen? Fast forward February 2025, an everyday developer that worked along Bybit's security team got an innocent message on Telegram by a random user. The anonymous account poses as a member from the Bybit team, asking the dev if he can check a document for an upcoming project. The dev says sure and opens the file, and nothing happens. However, in the background, a malicious Python script called yaml.load was actively running in the background, activating a virus known as a RAT. This stands for Remote Access Trojan and targets mainly Linux and Mac systems. It starts off by installing itself as a background process, virtually invisible from any security on your system. It then modifies the system settings to keep it running even when it's turned off. Now, the one problem that these hackers will come across is that they would still have to search through the developer's PC to find information to access certain accounts. They did find the token keys for his Amazon account, and they tried to add themselves as a device. They failed, but they knew that there was much more at stake. They knew that Bybit transfers from their cold wallet to their active wallet every 3 weeks. This was their target. Most of the time, these transfers still needed a peer review just for it to go through, meaning that multiple signatures in real life was needed. However, fortunately for them, the dev that they actually hacked was high enough in that company to make these said transactions without anyone's permission. From this point onwards, the heist mission needed to become a lot more sophisticated. 2 weeks later, they turned on a VPN and they logged into the dev's safe account. They inserted an innocent looking JavaScript file on the site, and at first it did nothing. It creates itself in a way that no malicious activity will appear until the coast is clear. And there's a timer on the file of when it will actually take action. The file loads every time that a new user accesses the site. It won't actually take action until it sees a specific transaction from a wallet address. This address is the Bybit safe wallet. They didn't want to interfere with Bybit's customer base because it will instantly flag up and the whole operation would fail. They was waiting for the right time and the right moment. As soon as the devs were ready to make the transfer between the safe wallet and the Bybit hot wallet, the JavaScript file manipulates the sender's address and it replaces it to an address that the hacker has. The said JavaScript file will still make the senders believe that they're sending money to the hot wallet, but it also manipulated some of the smart contracts required to send funds in the first place. It put some new clauses into it, one of them being a new transfer destination to the hackers' wallets, so nothing flagged up or seemed suspicious. But the final touch in order to sweep every penny from the safe's cold wallets was using something called Sweep ETH and Sweep ERC. These tools manipulate the transaction into sending all the Ethereum from the cold wallet to a new one. It changes the amount at the very final second it's about to be sent, and no one can do absolutely nothing about it. A few days after all the tools were set in place, Bybit CEO was notified that he needed to top up the site with $30,000 of Ethereum. The funds were stored on the ledger Nano X. While the site lies to him about the transfer destination, the ledger does not. However, he actually didn't check checked the transfer address because this was an everyday transaction for him. Nothing abnormal. He was the last person in the chain that needed to sign off everything before the transaction went through. I'm going to play a recording of what happened next.
So I got a call from my CFO. So after I signed the transaction, about 30 minutes later, he called me. When I get the call, it was already, I know it's bad news because he typically don't call me. The guy likes to send message. He just doesn't like calls. He calls me the moment I pick up. It's him and my security team. That I know it's most likely a hacking happened. But then the transaction I signed was 30,000 Ethereum. So I was in my head trying to calculate 30,000. I forgot the price of Ethereum. So I was like, okay, 3,000, 30,000, 3,000. Okay, how much is that? And then this is it, Ben, something is very bad. I say, okay, well, we got hacked. I say, yes. I said, okay, the 30,000 is all gone. And that's when his voice starts shaking. And that's when I start to get a little bit shaky. I was like, okay, this is much worse. He says, no, Ben, it seems like it's the whole wallet. And I asked, what do you mean the whole wallet? What do we have in the wallet? Because I don't know. He said about 400,000 Ethereum. And I was like, okay, how much is that? And he said $1.5 billion.
He knew that the damage had been done and there was no going back now. There was no point in lying to the customer base about what happened, so he just came clean. Within just a few hours, there were 4,000 withdrawal requests from Bybit, but he knew that he couldn't stop anyone from leaving. He live streamed 2 hours after the attack and he explained to everyone that he just secured a bridge loan in order to make sure that no customer on Bybit was affected by the hack. He offered 10% off the stolen crypto as a bounty on the hackers, equating to around $150 million if you find them. He also contacted multiple other exchanges to let him know if there was any suspicious transfers going on the Ethereum network. The hackers only had one more job before they started living life lavish. They would have to launder all the money from Ethereum to another coin like Bitcoin and mix the chain of transfer so there would be no way possible of locating them. People usually do this on decentralized exchanges, so no one asked them for ID verification or anything to do like that. Since the attack, blockchain investigator Zach XBT did some digging and found out that the attack was carried out by a group called Trader. This is a branch off from a much bigger group called Lazarus. Lazarus is responsible for hacking big companies like Sony, Stake and Atomic Wallet. As of today, Bybit has managed to get back $45 million and has given back around $2.2 million in rewards. But the thing is, with hackers from North Korea, most likely you're never going to get that money back again. This story is a lesson that nobody is safe ever on the internet. Big companies get targeted all the time, and it's more than likely it's just a few teenagers trying to get rich from their computers. My name is Ty White, and thanks for watching.
Xavier.